Leonardo da Vinci didn't just paint masterpieces. He embedded secret codes, hidden messages, and symbolic puzzles that have mystified scholars for over 5 centuries. The Renaissance masters spoke in a visual language that most of us have never learned to read, and once you crack the code, you'll never look at these paintings the same way again. Let's start with the most analyzed painting in history, The Last Supper. Painted between 14 and 1498 on the refectory wall of Santa Maria delle Grazie in Milan, this masterpiece is a mathematical and symbolic treasure chest. Leonardo obsessed over the number 3, representing the Holy Trinity. Count them: 3 windows behind Christ, apostles grouped in threes, and Jesus himself forming a perfect triangle with his outstretched arms. But 3 isn't alone. The number 4 appears everywhere too, symbolizing earthly existence through the 4 Gospels and 4 cardinal directions. Leonardo is telling us that this moment exists at the intersection of the divine and the human. The details get even more intriguing. Near Judas's elbow, there's spilled salt, a Renaissance symbol of betrayal and bad luck. Peter clutches a knife, foreshadowing his attempt to stop Jesus' arrest by cutting off a soldier's ear. Some scholars even claim that the positioning of hands and bread loaves creates a musical composition when read as a staff. Though this remains hotly debated, what's undeniable is Leonardo's revolutionary choice to paint all 13 figures on one side of the table, breaking centuries of tradition that isolated Judas on the opposite side. Here's what makes Leonardo truly radical. He removed the halos. Every Last Supper, before his depicted Christ and the apostles as supernatural beings with golden halos. Leonardo stripped them away, presenting these figures as ordinary men experiencing raw human emotion: shock, denial, anger, confusion. This wasn't just an artistic choice, it was a philosophical statement about the humanity of the divine. The painting technique itself was an act of rebellion. While other Renaissance masters used traditional fresco methods on wet plaster, Leonardo experimented with tempera on dry, sealed plaster. He wanted more time to perfect every psychological detail, every gesture, every shadow. The experiment failed catastrophically. The paint began flaking within decades, but it gave us something unprecedented, a frozen moment of pure human drama where you can read 13 different emotional reactions to betrayal. Leonardo's symbolic language extended beyond religious works. His sketches and manuscripts overflow with mirror writing, anatomical studies that bordered on heresy, and engineering designs centuries ahead of their time. He embedded elephants, unicorns, and hidden faces in paintings like the Virgin and Child with Saint Anne, visible only when viewed from specific angles or distances. These weren't accidents, they were deliberate puzzles for those educated enough to decode them. The Renaissance artists weren't just painters. They were philosophers, scientists, and storytellers working in a visual medium. They used color symbolism: blue for the Virgin Mary's divine purity, red for passion and sacrifice, gold for heavenly glory. They embedded political messages, personal beliefs, and even critiques of the church that couldn't be spoken aloud. Every gesture, every object, every shadow carried meaning. When you stand before a Leonardo da Vinci painting, you're not just looking at art. You're staring at a 500-year-old conversation, waiting for you to finally understand